All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this village board meeting to order on Monday, December 6, 2021, and ask if you would all please rise and join the village board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bertucci?
Here.
Trustee TINAGLIA?
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Here.
Trustee Grasse?
Here.
Trustee Scaletta? Trustee Baldino?
Here.
Trustee Canty?
Here.
Trustee LaBedz?
Here.
President Hayes?
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have just two sets to approve tonight. The first is from the committee of the whole meeting of November 15, 2021. Are there any changes or passes? Motion to approve?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion to approve by Trustee LaBedz, seconded by Trustee Grasse. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next are the village board meetings from that same, minutes from that same meeting, November 15, 2021. Any changes or passes?
I think it should pass.
Okay,
Not in attendance.
okay. And how about any other changes or passes?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee LaBedz, seconded by Trustee Baldino. Any other questions or comments from the board or the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will then move on to the approval of the accounts payable, and I would call on Trustee Bertucci.
I'll move approval of the warrant register dated 11/30/2021 in the amount of $1,758,783.80.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, seconded by Trustee TINAGLIA. Any questions or comments from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee TINAGLIA?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Well, next, under recognitions and presentations, we have a very special presentation tonight. That's to the winner of the 2020 Village Photography Competition. In 2020, the Arlington Heights Arts Commission invited photographers to participate in the Village Hall Photography Competition. After delay due to the pandemic, the selection was finally made, and the winning photograph was enlarged and framed. This photograph, which is displayed here, will also be displayed in Village Hall. To present the award this evening is our Arts Commission Chairperson, Kristen Schertz. Kristen?
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. Should I leave this
You
on?
can take it off.
Okay. First off, I would like to introduce my fellow arts commissioners. We have Janet Suter, Brian Wolf in the back, and Tony Higgins-Thrash. In judging the winner, the commission used the following criteria: technical expertise, image interest, and creativity. The commission received many excellent photographs, but we are especially impressed by the submission by this year's winner, Adam Pearson. And as you see, here's our photograph, and it is titled Lake Arlington Fall Sunrise. A little background on Mr. Pearson. His photography journey started by way of flying drones. At that time, he knew very little about photography. As he became more comfortable, he wanted to emphasize the detail in the landscapes he was photographing. After about a year of flying drones, after his father passed away, he inherited his camera. Although Mr. Pearson knew he was already interested in photography, it intimidated him, and the camera sat for almost a year unused until his wife booked an Alaskan cruise. This was just the push he needed to start understanding more about photography and to learn to use his father's camera with only 9 months until his vacation. Mr. Pearson used the suburbs, a family lake house, and eventually Chicago as his classroom. Unfortunately, the cruise to Alaska was canceled due to the pandemic, but that didn't stop his desire to continue his journey as he was already hooked on photography. The extra free time allowed Mr. Pearson to further pursue his passion for photography. Adam?
And I want you to come forward. We'd like to hear just a few words, or at least I would, about what inspired you to take this very beautiful photograph. So why don't you come forward to the microphone where Kirsten was.
So me and my wife live very close to Lake Arlington. I grew up in Mount Prospect. I know Lake Arlington very well. We would come here, walk, run all the time, and I knew I wanted to catch the fall color somewhere, and I knew Lake Arlington would definitely show those off very well. So I woke up early one morning and I took that picture.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Would like to take a photo
Okay.
with the Arts Commissioners. And should we do it around your photo? Yep. Arts Commissioner, you want to come over here as well? Yeah, let's go ahead and take one without mask.
Okay.
Just don't breathe. Got it? Okay. Well, thank you, Arts Commissioners, for your work in helping select this very outstanding work and all the great work you do on behalf of our community. And congratulations, Adam.
Thank you.
Fine job.
Thank you again.
We're looking forward to displaying this in Village Hall, so thank you again. We'll move on then in the agenda to public hearings, and we do have two public hearings to conduct tonight. The first is for the proposed 2022 budget, and so I do need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to open the public hearing by Trustee TINAGLIA, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. We are now in public hearing. Mr. RECKLAUS, do you want to make some comments?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. As you know, this proposed $191 million budget plan is the culmination of a long planning process, both operationally and financially, involving the hard work of many people in the organization. The budget was presented in detail in two committee of the whole meetings in November. We did make the budget public a little over a month ago and allowed residents to ask questions electronically, and we responded to every email that we received. Staff's tried very hard to prepare a budget that reflects not only the organizational requirements from our own perspectives, but also the formal and informal direction and feedback we've received from the village board during our many planning meetings this summer and spring, and of course the many discussions with residents, village boards and commissions, and other stakeholders over the course of the year. We're very happy to be able to say that this budget reflects a third year in a row of 0% increase in our property tax levy. We take fiscal responsibility very seriously, as does, of course, the village board and the community as a whole, and we're happy to be in a position to present another budget that features a 0% increase in the levy and is still able to address all the needs in the community. I do also want to point out that this document is not just a wish list from every department. It's a balanced policy document that does its best to move the community forward based on the anticipated challenges and opportunities ahead of us, and we're happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. RECKLAUS. We do have one blue card from an individual in the audience who wishes to speak as part of the public hearing. That's Keith Moons. Mr. Moons?
President Hayes. I would just like to recognize and congratulate the Board of Trustees and our village staff at coming in with yet another year of a 0% tax levy increase. This is a three-peat, and we've been looking forward to that. To my memory, this has to be a record. You know, this particularly helps those that are below the median income line, which is half of all our households in town. Because any increase, any tax increase is a higher proportion of their annual income. So this really helps those folks below the median income line. I think we like to say the village tax, bite is only 12.2% of the tax pie. We like to say that, but that is still the second largest slice of that pie, right behind all education. So it does make a big difference, and it matters when the board does not raise our taxes. I think you folks are all doing the thankless job that most residents would expect. This room should be filled with people appreciating that. Of course, if you were raising the tax levy, it probably would be filled. But this also sends a message to businesses that would consider relocating here, United Airlines, for example, that we have our financial house in good order. However, going forward, I feel somewhat that the circumstances could lead us into an inevitable tax levy increase, such as any handouts to the Bears to relocate here. In my opinion, the Bears should get exactly $0 from us to relocate here. Actually, President Hayes, the Bears should pay us to locate here. How many Sundays we have wasted watching the Bears play. Like yesterday. But for the moment, congratulations to you all on another 0% tax levy increase with continued strong cannabis sales, hopefully in March coming up, and with healthy reserves in the general fund. Let's go for a four-peat. Thank you, President Hayes, and have a good holiday.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moons. Any other members of the audience wish to address the board? Melissa Kayer.
Conserve resources, consolidate local government functions.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Any other members of the audience wish to address the board on the public hearing on the 2022 budget? All right, seeing none, I'll come back to the board for any comments. Trustee TINAGLIA.
Thanks, Mayor Hayes. I just want to reiterate a little bit what Mr. Moon said. And Randy, how many employees are in this village hall? About
438, I believe.
And how many different department heads are there?
9.
It's like a massive corporation, right? I mean, it's an enormous task to organize and control. And some of these folks right here are at the head of all of that. But there are countless other individuals that do so much to take care of all of us here in town. And I think what Mr. Moon said is exactly right on. This is a three-peat, and thanks to you guys, Tom Keeney, and everyone else for doing such a great job on behalf of all of us. So personally, just want to thank you just as much because it means a lot to everybody. The room is not filled because we don't have angry people in here doing that. So thanks very much.
Anything else from the board? I couldn't say any better than Trustee TINAGLIA, so I just add my thanks as well for a job well done again. And so if there is no other comments from the audience or the board, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Baldino, seconded by Trustee Bertucci. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? So that public hearing is closed. We will make the final motions to complete this process under legal? Or is it under resolution? At the end of the agenda. Under legal. All right. We do have one other public hearing to conduct right now, and that's the renewal of our cable television franchise agreement. Need a motion to open that public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. RECKLAUS.
Thank you, Mayor. Federal and state law require the village to hold a public hearing prior to the approval of a new cable franchise agreement. The hearing provides an opportunity for the public to comment on the agreement itself. The term of this agreement is 10 years. The agreement, there is not a lot of leeway in terms of how the village can negotiate these agreements these days. A lot of this is set by requirement by the FCC. Many years ago, every town had kind of a different arrangement with a franchise holder, and those days are gone. The new agreement generally follows the same as the existing agreement, except for there's a provision regarding complimentary service. the FCC has issued Order 621, which is currently the subject of a court battle, and that order could potentially change the current complementary account policy as it affects municipal facilities and other taxing districts like the Park District, Library, and schools. And that order preempts state and local law and provides that free cable services provided to those facilities falls within the 5% cap on fees. So we don't know how that's going to work out. But aside from that, this agreement is identical to the previous agreement. And again, the term is for 10 years, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have on it.
Thanks, Mr. RECKLAUS. Do we have any members of the audience that wish to address the board in the public hearing for the renewal of our cable television franchise agreement? Seeing none, let me go back to the board for questions or comments. Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee LaBedz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that public hearing is now closed, and we'll vote on that later in the agenda. Any members of the audience wish to address the board under citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda? Melissa?
Hello, don't take property tax money to administer the Toys for Tots collection. Let the individual receive the joy of giving. Thank you.
Right, I don't know that any tax dollars are taken for that, but
Didn't the firefighters use their time to collect Toys for Tots?
all right. Thanks, Melissa. Well, we're very proud of our firefighters for the great work that they do, and I think it's for a worthy cause. And so whatever time they spend, I think is time and money well spent. So, any other members of the audience wish to address the board on items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll close the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda and move on to old business. We do have two motions to report out from our committee, the whole meeting from earlier this evening. And the first motion was by trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I would move, as I did earlier this evening, to concur in the mayor's appointment of Ronald Hudson for appointment to the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission.
Second.
Motion by trustee Schwingbeck, seconded by trustee Grasse. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, Ron Hudson, if you come forward to the podium for just a minute, if you would. And just for the benefit of the audience with us tonight and those watching at home, the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission is a commission that was formed, I believe, in the early 1990s that was in response to primarily noise, but also air pollution arising out of O'Hare Airport. And at that time, it was a really big issue, at least on the south side of the village of Arlington Heights, because many of the flight patterns flew right over the south part of town. And so I know I personally observed both the noise and buildup of emissions on sidings of homes down on the south side during the early to mid-90s. And so as a result of the great work of our representative on the ONCC and other representative or member communities, municipalities, they were able to work together with the airlines and with the airport to encourage changes in technology that made quieter aircraft and aircraft that emitted less pollution. And so we appreciate the great work of the ONCC, and I know Ron Hudson has a great deal of experience in the airport and airline industry, and he's going to be a great representative on our behalf on the ONCC. So Ron, thank you for your interest in serving, and I know you're going to be a great representative for our community. So any words that you have to say to us or the community?
No, just thank you, Mr. Mayor and the board and the village for trusting me with this important matter, and we look forward to representing Arlington Heights and the communities around it in relationship to the airport.
All right. Thanks, Ron. We look forward to working with you.
Thanks.
All right, we have one other motion to report out from our committee, the whole meeting from earlier this evening, and I call on trustee Canty.
Thank
Thank you, President Hayes. I move now, as I did earlier this evening, to recommend to the Liquor Commissioner the issuance of a Class BB, Class E, and Class T liquor license to Down the Street Hospitality LLC, DBA Tuscan Market and Wine Shop, located at 141 West Wing Street, upon surrender of the current license issued to that address.
Second.
Motion by trustee Canty, seconded by trustee Baldino. Questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, Tracy, where are you at? Congratulations. Best of luck to you in your new role as owner and operator of this very fine establishment in Arlington Heights. I know it's got a very loyal following, and we wish you much success in your new job. So thank you. All right, we have no other old business, and so we would move on then in the agenda to our consent agenda. Are there any members of the board that wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I'd like to remove consent approval of bids D, the Windsor Drive Road Diet Phase 1 Report Award.
All right, that shall be removed. Any other members of the board wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, any members of the audience wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Melissa?
Consent legal C, a resolution approving a second amendment to the village manager employment agreement.
Okay, that shall be removed. Any other members of the audience wish to remove items on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Any members of the board wish to vote no or pass on any remaining items on the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the remaining items.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by trustee Baldino, seconded by trustee TINAGLIA. Roll call.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
trustee TINAGLIA,
Yes.
trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
trustee Canty,
Yes.
trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
trustee Grasse,
Yes.
trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. So one item that was removed was an approval of bid, the Windsor Drive Road Diet Phase 1 Report Award. And so we'll take that up now under approval of bids. Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. It came to our attention during the day today that there are some concerns, people not quite understanding what this item means. It's kind of been given the impression, at least to me, that the community thought that possibly this is happening right now, and with conversation with Village Manager RECKLAUS, I realized that's not really the case. So I thought it would be best if we could address it so that the community understands really what this item means.
I'm going to let our village engineer, Mike Begonis, who oversees this project, speak to it directly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee LaBedz. This is, what's before the board is a request to approve a study to determine the feasibility of possible road diet, which is a reduction in lanes in order to add on-street bike paths. This study will involve public involvement as part of the study before the recommendations are made. So there'll be ample opportunity for the public to engage and provide feedback.
Thank you. I think that's what's most important, that, you know, what you just said is that there will be ample opportunity for citizen involvement and input. So I think that should really allay the concerns of people who did see this agenda item. So thank you very much.
Any other questions from the board on this item? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, I would need a motion to approve then.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee LaBedz, seconded by trustee Grasse. Any further questions or comments from the board or the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
trustee Grasse,
Yes.
trustee Baldino,
Yes.
trustee TINAGLIA,
Yes.
trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
trustee Canty,
Yes.
trustee Schwingbeck.
Yes.
President.
President Hayes.
Yes, thank you. let's take up the other removed item under legal. And so we'll move on to new business. And we do have one new business item. That's the reinstatement of the roofing permit requirement. Mr. RECKLAUS.
I believe there was another item pulled off the consent agenda.
That was the legal
Oh,
one. We'll
gotcha.
take that under legal.
Sure. So the roofing permit change, this is an example of, sometimes we try something and upon further analysis, we decide we want to do it a little bit differently than how we originally tried it. And back in 2019, we discussed at a committee of the whole meeting the idea of eliminating roof permits with the notion that we realize our inspectors are not going up on roofs and actually inspecting the work that was done. And at that time, we were trying to eliminate permits that we felt did not provide a great value to our residents. And that was one that was identified, and we did not want to have an inspection process that presented a false sense of security to residents, that we were doing something that they felt, they're saying, well, if there's a problem, why didn't you guys catch that? And that really wasn't something that was done. So at the time, we suspended those roofing permits. Now, since that time, and upon direction of the board, we have kind of reevaluated the value of roofing permits, and our Director of Building and Life Safety, George Torres, is here, and he can speak to a little bit about that analysis and what we're proposing at this point that's different from what we talked about before.
Yes, thank you. I understand that an inspection of the roofing is difficult to do, and we don't do that. We do not inspect the roof, nor do we go on top of the roof. However, we want to hold the contractor liable and responsible of the installation of the roof. So we are proposing the contractor, the licensed state contractor, certify that their work was done by the building codes and manufacturer specifications. It's a typical process used with other municipalities, that we have a paper trail on who did that work, and it's available for the residents to have it on their file. So we get FOIA, or if anybody is inquiring buying a house, we have a track record. When was the last time of installation of that roof? We don't take responsibility, or we're not accountable for the workmanship of that roof. The state licensed contractor is responsible, and that is monitored through the state. However, we will let the homeowner do their own roof if they select to do that, but they will also sign off stating that the roof was installed by the building codes and manufacturer specifications, so we have a paper trail on who did that work.
Thanks, George. Questions from the board on this? Trustee Tinalia.
Thanks, Mayor Hayes. So we discussed this, George and myself and the rest of the building code review board, and it does make good sense, as George is explained here tonight. It was a different perspective from a different building director at the time, and it seemed to make sense back then, as Village Manager RECKLAUS pointed out. But this is a logical kind of a realization of what we should be doing. And while we can't guarantee anything, because we're not climbing up there and making sure, what we can do is hold the contractor's feet to the fire that they are doing what they should be doing and have that paper trail for residents. So I was in support of it that night, and I'm in support of it tonight, and I would encourage us all to ask questions if need or vote in favor of it.
We do have the motion under legal, and so we can take that up at the appropriate time. But any questions or comments, Trustee Baldino?
Thank you, Mayor. And I agree with Trustee Tinalia in his assessment of why we want to reinstate this particular permit and inspection or non-inspection. But in the back of my mind, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought part of the reason why we were looking at this issue was an attempt to streamline some of the processes in the building department. And so my question is, if we start doing this again, are we going to put, we've made so much progress lately in the building department, and I'm such a fan of it, but are we going to put additional burden that's going to cause more speed bumps in the process?
And I don't believe so. We reduce the fees. There's no calculation involved or proposal of the contract that shows the amount of the work. It's a flat fee for residential and commercial. We
Okay.
simplify it. For residential, it should be over the counter. And as long as we have the paperwork on file or they submit us the paperwork, which is very simple to get, should not be a process. For commercial property, it might take 2 or 3 days because they're a little bit more complicated to a degree if they're opening up the envelope or they're installing mechanicals, but that's normal process. It will not incur any more work than we're currently doing at the front counter team for issuing other building permits.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask that question because, as I said, I agree with the technical points that were made here tonight. I just didn't want to throw up more speed bumps, so thank you, Mayor, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you. I'm in support of this, and I especially love the flat fee idea. I think it makes a lot of sense for people. My question has to do with, I guess I didn't really think about, most of the talk is about contractors, but apparently homeowners may do the work themselves, and certainly sometimes I see that, especially on something like a detached garage or something that's a fairly easy thing to do and not really scary heights kind of thing. So that if a homeowner is planning to do their own work, they should be coming in to get a permit then?
Yes, we will encourage that for them. The only thing we will ask to provide us a proof of residency, that they live in the actual property, any state ID that shows the property address and their picture, that should be sufficient for us.
Thank you. And I understand from the material that a fee, if it's for them, would be a lower fee.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing none. Any questions from the audience? All right, thanks, George. We're going to vote on this in just a minute.
Thank you.
So thank you. There's no other new business, and so we'll move to legal, and we do have a number of ordinances and resolutions that we need to approve, and we've got the one removed item. So let's go ahead and start with legal A. Do we have a movement for legal A? Trustee Bertucci.
I'll move approval of the ordinance adopting a budget and appropriations ordinance and amounts set forth therein for the year commencing January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, second by Trustee Schwingbeck. Questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Tinalia?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Who wants to take legal B? Trustee Canty.
An ordinance providing for the levy, assessment, and collection of taxes for the year beginning January 1, 2022, and ending December 31, 2022, for the Village of Arlington Heights.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Tinalia?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. And legal C. Trustee Tinalia.
I'd move to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 23 of the Municipal Code of the Village of Arlington Heights regarding roofing permit requirements. Amendment to Sections 23-202 and 23-302. Modifications to the International Residential and Building Codes related to roofing permits.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Tinalia. I think I heard Trustee Baldino second. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Tinalia?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. And legal D. Do I volunteer? Trustee Canty?
I move for a resolution approving a cable television franchise agreement with Comcast of Illinois 11 LLC, renewal of agreement for 10 years.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Canty, second by Trustee Baldino. Questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Tinalia?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. And lastly is the removed item, and that was a resolution approving a second amendment to the village manager employment agreement. And for the benefit of the individual who removed the item and also those in attendance tonight and watching at home, this is as a result of the village manager's contract, which calls for his annual review. We obviously review all of our employees on an annual basis, if not more frequently, but the village board only hires two individuals. One is the village manager, they're both sitting here, the village manager and the village attorney. And so it's our responsibility to conduct evaluations of the employees that we're responsible for hiring. And so we dutifully did that with village manager Randy RECKLAUS after our first village board meeting in November, pursuant to his employment agreement. And as a result of his outstanding performance of duty over the past 12 months in getting us through the pandemic, his leadership of an outstanding team of department heads and employees in, as we noted earlier this evening, having a 0% tax levy increase for the third consecutive year, and many other outstanding reasons, we unanimously decided to amend the employment agreement of our village manager by extending his contract for an additional 4 years through November 10, 2026, and also award him a 5% salary increase on his base salary. And so we were very happy to do these things for our village manager as a result of his outstanding performance of duty. And so that's my explanation. Any questions from the board or from the audience? Melissa?
What is the salary?
His salary with the 5% increase will be $246,048.60.
146, okay. And then he gets a lot of benefits, like, what is the dollar amount of the benefits that he receives? You know, like vacation time, pension?
Well, I don't have that off the top of my head, Melissa. We can provide that information. Certainly, I think his benefits are reasonable in terms of any additional compensation and benefits that he receives, not out of line with what other village managers receive in the local surrounding area, but we can certainly provide that information as public
Okay.
information.
Do you have an educated guess?
Pardon me?
Can you make an educated guess? Like 40,000?
No, I can't
Okay.
give you an
All right.
educated guess, but we will provide that information. And I'm not trying to hide it. It's public information. I just don't want to be inaccurate. Yeah. Any other comments from the audience? Any comments from the board? Seeing none, we do need a motion to approve the ordinance or the resolution approving a second amendment to the village manager employment agreement.
I move to approve a resolution approving a second amendment to the village manager employment agreement.
Second.
Motion by trustee Grasse, seconded by trustee TINAGLIA. Further questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Grasse,
Yes.
trustee TINAGLIA,
Yes.
trustee Canty,
Yes.
trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
trustee Baldino,
Yes.
trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. All right, Randy, again, thank you for a job well done. All right, is there any other business? Mr. RECKLAUS, any report under the village manager?
Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
Anything from the village board under petitions and communications?
Move to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn by
Second.
trustee TINAGLIA, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all for joining us this evening.